feeling the pressure to grow your business at any cost? Well, you're not alone. Growth can seem like the ultimate goal, but without the right strategy, it can lead to burnout, financial strain, or even business failure. Join us on this episode of Profit with a Plan podcast as we dive into the art of sustainable growth with my guest, Heather Udo, who is the visionary behind Shoppable. Discover how you can scale your business smartly, avoid those pitfalls, and thrive in today's business landscape. You don't want to miss Heather on this show. Hey entrepreneurs, are you trying to make bigger profits in your small business? If you're like many of us business owners, increasing your profitability is always on your mind, and you're probably looking for ways to grow your revenue while growing your company as well. Well, you found a podcast that shares ideas to help you do just that. I'm Marcia Reiner, known as the Profit Booster and a business growth strategist. I've helped tons of small business owners to establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees increased profitability, guides your growth, and plans for your future exit. Because building a highly profitable and sale-ready business creates a win-win scenario. That's more money now and a windfall when it's time to let go. And I want to share strategies that I've learned with you on today's Profit with a Plan podcast. But before we get started, I have something great to share with you. If you ever wanted to supercharge your business and avoid profit plateaus, operational headaches, or growth roadblocks, well, I've created a brand new Profit Booster playbook just for you. You'll uncover 3 essential strategies and a quick way to take action on them. Now, this isn't just a single-page report. It's filled with impactful strategies, actionable steps, and expert guidance to help you elevate your profits. Go download my free playbook at boostingprofit.com. All right, I'm excited to have my guest on with me. Heather Udo is a coach and the founder and CEO of Shoppable, a SaaS and award-winning technology business. She built Shoppable from the ground up into a successful business operating for 13 years and licensing it to numerous Fortune 500 businesses, including many on the Fortune 100 list. Her launch customer for Shoppable was the Wall Street Journal. She had launch partners such as Best Buy, Barnes & Noble's, and Neiman Marcus on board. She holds 4 U.S. patents for the technology she invented for universal checkout technology. At Shoppable, Heather won the 2013 Women of the Digital Awards from L'Oreal, and she was named one of the top 10 most powerful millennials in Manhattan. She did Tech Gurus Changing the Luxury Game by Refinery 29. Shoppable has been named the 2014 Webby Award honoree for online shopping and the 2016 honoree for technical achievements, and cited one of the most 100 brilliant companies by Entrepreneurial Magazine. A lot of credits there, Heather. So thanks for being a guest on the show. Welcome to Profit with a Plan.
Thank you so much for having me. I am delighted to be here.
Awesome. I love it. Got a little twick in my eye here, contacts. I love it in the heat and dust of spring air. So Heather, you've got some tremendous credentials, and you grew a company with your bootstraps from zero to incredible in just a short power of time. How do you take that knowledge and skills and bring it into your own business consulting that you've developed?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, part of it is from my own, honestly, I learned it on my own, but I truthfully learned it from someone else first. So
Nobody creates the wheel by themselves, right?
Yeah, right. You know, I can't say that I learned it honestly on my own. And I think, and I think this is a really important point, and I don't want to like glaze over this because there's so much out there, especially on social media, that people are just glazing over the entry-level jobs. Like, I don't know, Marcia, if you've experienced this, Oh my gosh. But like there's just so many people that think that they should be skipping entry level jobs and go from zero to, making $100,000 a year. And they skip the entry level stuff, but there's so much value in what you learn in entry level jobs. And so I will say, there's so much that I learned even in, jobs that I had during high school in literally learning how to generate leads. I did door-to-door lead generation.
Yeah, right?
um, for a home improvement company. I knew nothing about home improvement, but I learned about sales and marketing by going door to door, selling something that people didn't know they needed, which was to replace their windows. And you learn so much about things like that. And when you can learn those types of skills about other industries, and then you get that foundation that is going to help you with your own, with your own business. And in any way, but just kind of fast forwarding ahead, in my final year of college, I had this great opportunity to join a startup with a serial entrepreneur who was at the very beginning. He had an idea for his second company and was just starting it. So it was a PowerPoint. He was about to raise funding, and that was it. He had another executive and himself and nothing else. So I didn't even have my college degree yet. So I was clearly going to be the most junior person at the company. But I said, this sounds like a great opportunity. So anyway, so I learned everything from the ground up. I took the position, and whatever needed to be done, from literally sitting on the floor, putting together desks and listening to the conversations that these guys were having, to interviewing my future bosses, learning how to research marketing, learning how to do business development, learning how to sell. Once I sold something, I was customer success, business operations, literally everything at the business but engineering, what I was involved with. But you get those entry-level positions, and I was paid, bottom of the barrel. But I was first in, last out, and absorbed absolutely everything I could.
And I
And
think I think that's the piece that these Gen Xers or whatever we're calling them these days, the kids that are coming in that are so entitled that they come out of college, right? And they feel that they deserve this $150,000 a year job and don't want to do the grunt work, when in reality, college teaches you how to think, but hands-on in business where you're there sponging, learning how to deliver a product, how to sell a product, how to put together a desk, as you said, right? That's where you get the real business experience. And not to knock college, because I'm a college graduate as well, but it taught you how to think critically, not how to solve problems in business.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, and I was undergrad business too, which was great. But if had I just done that and then went and started my company, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Like, and trust me, I'm very confident individual. I thought I had a good amount of information. And part of my question at that point in time in my, journey, I couldn't even really say career because, I was, what are you when you graduate college, 22? Was, do I try to start a company right now? Do I, go the direction of like large corporation, apply Google or something like that? Or do you go the startup route? And at that point in time, I was like, let's go the startup route and learn from this serial entrepreneur. He knows what he's doing. And worst case scenario, if this business doesn't work out, I've learned,
What not to do.
Yeah, I've learned what not to do, and and I've learned, had some lessons learned during this experience, and then I go apply at Google or one of these other big companies, and move on. And it's been an experience. So, but yeah, so I don't want to glaze over that piece because I feel like there's just so much content out there right now that that misses that point. And I think it's so valuable. And that for me was like just an incredible experience that really gave me that great experience to be able to then say, okay, now I understand what it takes to start a business. And that was, I think I was there. So it was about 5 years from the day that I started to, I think 4 years in, we exited. We were acquired by another company. And then I stayed 2 years because I wanted to see the post-acquisition integration process. And I'd been promoted several times throughout the process, which was fascinating too, to see the whole like corporate ladder process. So it was very, very fascinating experience. But also from an entrepreneurial journey, and for someone kind of understanding this experience and who wants to do it on their own, when you're growing and building a business, you don't really know what to expect. And I will tell you, there were so many days in that startup's life where I thought the business was dead. I thought something came at us, and I just thought, holy crap, we're dead today. Like, this is it. And I'll talk about can I talk about one quick example?
Sure.
Okay. So we were a lead generation company, and, we left for the weekend, came back on a Monday and looked at our leads that we'd been sending to all of our customers. And we had sent this flood of fraudulent leads, unintentionally, of course, unintentionally, but over the weekend, someone had attacked our systems with all this fraud. Anytime, there's an opportunity for arbitrage, some bad actor is going to try to find a way. And they did. So, of course, and I'm dealing with our customers. I was on the front lines. I had to figure out a way to tell them, we're so sorry.
Oops.
Oops. And it was really bad. It was enormous amounts of fraud. So anyway, I'm looking at the system and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so much fraud. Our clients are going to hate us. We're going to have to we're going to have to refund them all of this. And we're probably going to lose these relationships. I'm just thinking it's worst case scenario, the company is over. So what does the CEO do? And I'm watching how he's going to handle this. He gets all the leaders at this point, including myself, around the table, and we talk it out. We find a solution, and it's fine. We work through it, and it's not a big deal. And that was such an world-opening experience of how to handle problems. To this day, my employees, when something a blip in the road happens, to this day, I still have an employee that will occasionally be like, you seem so calm right now. And I'm like, this isn't a big deal.
Because it'll work out.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's going to work out. It really isn't that big of a deal, because I've seen things like that. I've been through it, and I've been through it when it was someone else's company. And now I just understand, like, there's always a way through those things, especially if you're coming from it, you're coming through those situations from the right perspective and from a good place. Like, we weren't the ones sending the fraud. It was a bad actor. Our clients knew that. They knew we had a good relationship with them, et cetera, et cetera. So there's always a way through it. And if you believe that and you have the right people, there's always a way. So it was just fascinating. So to kind of come full circle, that you bring, I think those are some of the big lessons that when you have that type of experience, then you take that with you to your own company. That's so valuable, because when you don't, those are the types of things that you could shut down your company. That could scare you. And you're just like, well, that's it. We're closing shop today.
Here's your pink slip.
Yeah. You're like, okay, well, we're just done. Can't make it through this, because some people will get scared and just feel like I I can't deal with this. This is too much stress, because being an entrepreneur or business owner or executive, it's very stressful,
Mm,
and
it can
sometimes
be.
it can be. And if you don't have that problem solving skill and that type of experience, it really can be. So I
Mhm.
think those are key, some of the key skills. And then that's also what I try to help bring now from my coaching experience to other individuals, is helping them see that there's a way through whatever challenge they have. And sometimes it's just about changing that perspective, and then first understanding that there is a way through it. Let's just kind of step back from whatever that issue is.
Love it. Wow, what an experience that not everybody gets a chance to be able to come in and go, like your employee said, how come you're so calm through this, right? You knew that you had seen it before. You know that the path you're on is the right plan, and you can handle anything that comes in your way as a CEO. But something that struck me, which that is a great lesson, but something else that struck me that you brought up in your story and your history was that you learned everything by doing the grunt work, right? By doing those foundational jobs for 5 years and trying to do it before you started your company. If we could kind of flip that a little bit and take some of those lessons that you learned, maybe you can share with them for those people that don't have 5 years to wait, that are already in their business is growing,
Yeah.
and what they could do to maybe borrow your experiences in ways that they can handle and grow their business.
Yeah. So I think if it depends on a lot of things, of course, but I mean, one of the pieces, of course, is, and I'm sure you'd say that the same thing is, if you don't have that type of experience, one of the pieces is make sure that you have the right people around you, right? Of course, is if you're you need to understand who are the right what are the right positions, and who are the right people that you need on your team. And sometimes it's not always who you think. So
Right.
one thing that I've learned to do is, before you hire a new position, and this is depending on the size of your company. So if you're running a larger company, this is not going to work as well. So this is kind of a tool for a smaller company. But before you hire a new position, whoever is going to be closest to that position, have them or the team that is working, that would likely be hiring that position, do an audit, essentially, and then open up a Word doc. And every time there is something that needs to be done that you think that person would be doing, write it down on that Word doc and do it for a week, or as long as it would take. And then at the end of that week, look back at that Word doc and see what's listed there. And then do a review and see what those items are. And that essentially becomes what the job rec is. And sometimes those things need to be a review, and maybe there needs to be a little shuffling, but that review should be done before you actually go out and hire the person, because sometimes what you think you need is not exactly the reality of what it is. So that's one thing I would say for sure. Another
Awesome.
thing, oh, go
And
ahead.
as an early team member on your team, you may not know exactly what their jobs are. And by doing that discovery of putting that list together of the job tasks that they're going to do, it will help you delegate that job over to them as well. Instead of saying, oh, I'm just hiring a salesperson, go out and sell. No, you need to have strategies and steps and tactics that you want them to do on your behalf. So having that job role listed out and developed before hiring is an amazing skill to have and requirement to have before you hire. So I think that's good.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because so many people, that's really, really good point, because I think a lot of times I'll hear people say, like, they'll just go out and put the rec because I just need somebody, I just need another salesperson, or I just need XYZ. and then they just put out the rec, they hire someone, they get a body in, and then
They
it's
wonder
kind of
why
like
they're not performing.
yeah, exactly. Then it's like they're not performing, but it ends up a lot of time it's a disconnect between leadership and and it's more of a leadership problem than an individual problem, and not really performance, but they're not connecting of what's expected of that person in the role because it wasn't really prepared properly ahead of time. But had you even just done that doc, and then even just shared that doc, then even to clean up doesn't need to be fancy, but share the doc. These are the things that we really need help with, and that person looked at the document, that in itself would have made it more successful, most
Oh,
likely.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's it. So many business owners, especially in the earlier phase of their business, will say that they're beyond them making the cash register ring for the first time, but they're still in that early growth cost, and they're looking at like they're still swinging the hammer or technically doing the work. They're trying to lead, they're trying to hire, they're trying to wear all the different hats. And I think that what ends up happening is they kind of half-ass do the jobs that need to
Yeah.
be done, rather than saying, okay, what's the org chart I need? I need help in this area. What can I only do? And what can I afford to pay? And to get these pieces handled in the right position, because nobody grows alone. They need to have a proper team on there. And there's so many different things to make that team be successful.
Yeah.
And like you said, you only understand that through experience, right?
Yeah,
But if this is your first company, you may not have that experience.
absolutely. Yeah. So, and then another one, and this one is completely free, which a lot of people like. So, and this is kind of one of the principles, which is your network is your net worth. And if you're looking to, grow your revenues, which we all are, and a lot of people miss this. So your LinkedIn network, your Facebook network, whatever it is, however many connections you have, each one of those people is a possibility for a connection that not necessarily that person itself is your customer, because most likely a lot of those people are not qualified to be your customers, but a lot of them probably know someone or know someone that knows someone that could potentially be a customer. So depending upon what your business is, depending upon what you're selling, your category, things like that, you can send a very simple, but make it really authentic message to every single one of I would do it on LinkedIn because it's more business oriented, but send a very simple message to everybody on your LinkedIn, especially if you're earlier in your business journey. Send a very authentic message to each one, and with a simple request for help. Or notification saying, I launched a business last year or 2 years ago. Would you mind doing me a favor? And you could ask for if they know anyone that, XYZ that needs XYZ services or blah, blah, blah. It would mean a help. And then I would say, I'll owe you one, and these are all people that are in your network, and you'll be surprised at the response rate you'll get, but these are warm leads already for you. And because they're in your network, they want to help you. They want to. And every time someone I know or have coached and worked with does this, the response rate is through the roof, and they're shocked. Like, all these people are responding and they want to help. They want to help you, but it's
You
funny
don't know
because
how. You haven't
yeah,
asked.
yeah, like you haven't asked. And but we often just don't think to do that. Or you think because maybe we did like one post, like, just general post to our audience
Don't
on
want to sound
LinkedIn.
salesy. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to sound salesy, or we did a post and like we assume everybody sees it, but that's just like LinkedIn doesn't show it to everybody, and it's just most people aren't on every day and things like that. But most people want to help, and so if you send a one-to-one message and ask for help, they will. And if we want to be good networkers, and you say, I'll owe you one, or let me know how I can help you, most people will again want to help. And when they do reach out to you later, and if they do, just make sure you respond and you help them too.
I love it.
So
I love
that
it.
helps a lot too.
Oh, right. And that's an easy place. And I love that you said it's free. It's just your
Free.
time. And if you have 500 contacts or 5,000 contacts, you just start chipping away at that list one-on-one until you get through it. But that's something you can also do, at night with the laptop on your lap while you're watching your favorite show or relaxing for the evening and sending out 10 messages every day. You'll eventually chip apart at that. But I love the concept of hey, everybody wants to help, right? They just need to know what you're looking for. And if you make that request to them with a, hey, how can I help you?
Yeah.
As a reciprocal, you're going to get much more guidance or much more support back from them. So that's a great idea to get things going. So I love how we're doing this. We're coming up with sharing valuable tips that the audience, the business owners that are listening to this will go, hey, I didn't think about this, because they are foundational. And instead of chasing sexy AI tactics and things, they're, go back to the basics and build yourself a foundation that grows with you, right? Because growth on a wobbly foundation will make that house or the tower wobble really far, right? So
Right.
having that foundation built strong is a great idea. So what's the third tip that we can do?
Let's see. Um, Let me see. I would say, I mean, another one that I think is really important is, and this is, again, I like trying to keep things really simple. So I think, it's important as you're throughout the business journey, and this is true at the beginning, this is true at the middle, this is true as like you're growing, but everyone's heard the saying, don't reinvent the wheel. But this is true with as you're thinking about different parts of your business. So many, especially, so I come in from the tech space. I work, I still work, well, I'm still running a tech business, but I still work very, very heavily in the tech space. So I see a lot of tech companies that continue to burn dollars and resources trying to reinvent the wheel and build different parts of their company that is absolutely not necessary. They're building like add-ons to it where someone else already like provides that service. And for, sometimes like $100 a month, they could be licensing that from someone else, like a CRM, or something. Like, why are you building your own CRM when you're not a CRM company?
Right.
And things like that. And those types, I'm just giving one random example, but those types of things will really, really distract from growth, because taking away your resources, it's taking away money, engineering resources, everything else. And there's just no point to it. But I think sometimes business owners, I don't know if it's part of it is we do it because we can. Sometimes maybe it's ego. Sometimes it's excitement. Maybe sometimes it's, we want to own everything. I don't know if it's like, I don't know, but I just see it happen so many times. And it just doesn't make any sense. And anyway, so I want to like call that out too, because it's just such a distraction from growth and the core of somebody's business. So I call that out, and I kind of make it something that I make sure to bring up to other business owners too.
That's a really valuable point, because we can go down those rabbit holes chasing things that we really shouldn't be chasing. If we can keep clarity and focus on the task at hand, right?
Yeah.
And using your CRM example, there's plenty of free ones you can use in the midterm. Then there's those that you can pay and get into that, you can expand upon later on. There's really no need to recreate the wheel, as you said. And I always like to put a a set of questions to every job or expense that when I'm coaching my clients, to ask yourself, what does this bring in a new customer? Does this create a new customer? Does it keep a customer, right? Or does it increase the lifetime value of a customer? And when you're making decisions in your company as to whether we go this route or that route, or whether we spend money on this or spend money on that. If you can take this litmus test with these 3 questions and answer them, they'll keep you on path, right? Rather than chasing that rabbit hole and going, oh, I need a new CRM today. Let's put all the resources in, which
I
is
love that. Yeah.
bonkers. So many
I love that.
companies just chase the wrong things. And I think that's where the support of people like you and I come in for our clients and are able to say, hey, is that really what you need to be spending your money on? Or is that really the time and effort we want right now? Or could we put a pin in it, as they say, and push it out to next quarter and finish this task so we can move forward in the direction we want to go?
Right. Yeah. Maybe we revisit that later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love those questions.
Exactly. Well, Heather, this has been a great conversation. You've given us some really great ideas that business owners can put in their business to help them grow and, to make sure that they're on track for what they want to do. Where can listeners find out more about you and your coaching and Shoppable?
Yeah. So for Shoppable, they can find us at shoppable.com. And then for coaching, the best place to reach me is on Instagram. And I am at Heather_Udo, spelled UDO. And if they're interested in coaching, they can DM me Profit Pod, and I'd be happy to give them $300 off.
Oh, nice. That's nice. Very generous. Okay, excellent. Well, listeners, I know that this has been an interesting conversation, and a kind of a view from the top, right? What to do and what not to do from somebody that's taken their company from 0 to incredibly successful and has all the accolades to do it. Not often do we get those experts on the show to be able to say, let's peel back the curtain and say, hey, what are some of the strategies and ideas that we may be overlooking or stepping over to get to the next growth opportunity? And maybe it's time to step back and go, hey, let's focus on this for a little while. So what a gem we've had today in having Heather on. So thank you, Heather. And we appreciate you being on there. So listeners, I hope you found a couple ideas to put into your business that will help your business be more profitable this year. And I know that Heather's ideas have helped, and will maybe put a little bit of a different lens on your rose-colored glasses today. And as I mentioned, if you wanted to supercharge your business, go ahead and download my new Profit Booster Playbook, packed with 3 profit strategies and the actionable steps that you can use to make this your most profitable year ever. Again, they're foundational, but you know what? They're so juicy. They're really going to move that needle on your business. So go grab it for free right now at boostingprofit.com. And Heather and I would love to hear your questions and feedback. Tell us the one takeaway that you're going to put into your business. Hit us up in the chat, and Heather and I will respond back for it. And while you're at it, please subscribe. You don't want to miss next Tuesday's show. And you can always catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. We're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thanks so much, Heather.
Thank you.